Hey, PCT here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Galaxy Note 4. The release dates for this phone are going to be coming out from the weeks of October 16th to October 23rd, respectively, depending on your carrier. But anyway, let's get started on the phone itself. So, from the start, you can see that Samsung has decided to include the new aluminum siding, and it looks really premium compared to its predecessor and just, Galaxy series in general. It also has the volume rocker on the side, which is also made of metal, and just the feel of it is really premium, and you can just tell the difference by holding it in your hand. The video really doesn't just do it justice. You have to go out there and see it for yourself, or you might as well just buy one, which I plan to do myself in the near future. So anyway, let's get started with the specs. As you can see, it's really slim, really thin on the sides. Surprisingly, it is a little thicker than its predecessor, but that's because it's also a little taller. And the aluminum really does it justice because it doesn't feel any thicker than the Note 3 was, even though in dimensional wise it is on paper. So as you can see, you have the power button on the right, and then the rear camera, the front facing camera actually is a lot bigger, and you have the 3.5mm jack. The front-facing camera has been bumped up to a 3.7 megapixel upgrade, and you have the speaker grill on the back this time instead of on the bottom like the Note 3. You have the heartbeat sensor with a flash, and the 16 megapixel rear camera with OIS, which is a first for Samsung. And move on to the screen, and as you can see, it's really similar to the Galaxy S5. It's got a 5.7-inch Quad HD display. The first of Samsung to have it, other than the Edge. It's running 4.4.4 KitKat, and it will be receiving the Android L update makeover, which will really boost its performance. As you can see, a lot has been changed here. Starting with the camera, it's really similar to the Galaxy S5. It sports a bunch of shooting modes that the Note 3 did not have, in addition to having a more button on the bottom, which will direct you straight to the Samsung store for even more modes for the camera. As you can see, it has HDR, quicker focus, just like the Galaxy S5, and it's a really fun camera to play around with, but I haven't had much time to do that since the phone isn't exactly out yet. A new feature that it has is that you can choose between the full Ultra HD or in between, which is the WXHD. That's useful because if you want the quality to be better than 1080p but not so beefy that it sucks up all your storage space, then you can just decide to go with that mode. Moving on, this is the task manager now. It's a card system now. They decided to go with cards, and it looks really neat compared to the former slide and delete. It still supports the 3 gigs of RAM that was found on the Note 3. That's probably not going to change anytime soon with the Note series, and with this phone you definitely need every megabyte of RAM that you can get. Moving on, the browser is really similar to the former browsers of Samsung. Not much has changed, but as you can see, text is viewed as a lot more crisp than the 1080p screen found on the Note 3. Moving on to the pen, Samsung has decided to make this pen really similar to the Note 3's. Not much improvements, but except for the ergonomic designs on it, because you can see little horizontal lines on it, which gives it a better grip and, to be honest, just a better feel. And also, it is much easier to detach than it was on the Note 3, but is that a good thing? Well, that's the user's opinion, because you don't want your pen to fall out, so you want it to be secure, but at the same time, if you want quick access to it, you don't want it to be a hassle to pop out. As you can see, the tip is really pointy, almost as if it were a pen itself, but not much improvements from the Note 3. The Note 2 to the Note 3 was a much bigger improvement. It's got similar modes. It still has the action memo, has the screen write, and also has the air commands. And just like that Galaxy Note 3, what is the S Pen on the Note 4 without its trusty sidekick, the Sketchbook Pro? The Sketchbook Pro is quite the useful app, as it is literally a virtual sketchpad and drawing pad for the artists out there who utilize the S Pen to its full advantage and capabilities. It's got different strokes, different colors, different utensils to choose from, as well as templates and many other things you can do.
The final verdict of this phone, comparing the Note 4 to Note 3, the upgrades is very minimal. Apart from the new quad-core processor and the screen, there's very little motivation to get this phone. It's not saying that this phone is not a great upgrade. There are some positives to the phone. You get a better screen, a new better battery life, better camera. But coming from the predecessor, it's not a very huge jump compared to the Note 3, the Note 2.
The addition of the aluminum siding and the Quad HD display on the front, this really does feel like an $800 piece of equipment. Stay tuned for the next episode of PCT. This has been the review of the Galaxy Note 4. We approve.